Hi, everyone, and angel blessings extended to you wherever you are today. This is Soul Activation Podcast with me, Suzanne Alexandria, where we help you ignite your eternal light. This show is about getting real about who you are deep inside your heart. And it's about expressing yourself fully in your life and your work and your play. And we're going to talk about that today with our guest. It's about the becoming of the true self. So if you find yourself in that place in life where you really get to seize the shift in your truth, this show is for you. And it's so fun. This is my inaugural show. We just had the inauguration in the United States last week, and I am so excited to launch with my dear guest, Dr. Kari Taylor Evans today. She's a transformational therapist and a dear friend and soul sister, and she's a gifted psychologist. Dr. Carrie has worked in her field for over 20 years, most especially with people who've experienced severe trauma, some of the most severe PTSD and experiences that often have resulted in inpatient hospitalizations. Dr. Carrie loves and serves our military vets who, as we know, experience severe trauma. So she's got real, broad, and very deep experience. And her becoming has been about using that experience and understanding how to incorporate other modalities to really get to the light. Now, as Dr. Carrie's light has ignited, she's using her full-on gifts and magical sound healing in miraculous ways. And later in our show with her, you're going to get to experience that. So stay tuned for that. We're talking about her soul healing gifts and how she's using them to transform her clients' experiences of healing, but also how they really revolutionize their lives. And I know, and you're going to experience, we both come at this in a similar way, because Dr. Carrie and I both know the power of empowering our clients to really transform themselves. So we can provide containers, and they come into the knowing of how powerful they are. So she's going to share that. And professionally, Dr. Carrie and I are really playing with each other as luminaries and assistants to raise consciousness. And that's just the beginning. So we're going to talk about that too. So again, as a special blessing, she's going to give you all a beautiful light language attunement later on after we go into some of her amazing story. So Dr. Carrie, dear sister, welcome to Soul Activation Podcast. It's such a pleasure to have you here.
Suzanne.
Here we are. Bring in your laughter.
Oh my goodness. I mean, was that not the most beautiful introduction and vision of what we're bringing to this world, and that what we are, this soul activation? And I just thank you for your voice and your vision and putting words to this, because how many of us out there don't even have words to put to this experience? And so when I just had the opportunity to just sit here as we were going through it and just taking in the vibration of even, what you were all just saying, I could just feel the energy. So I thank you from me and for all of us.
Oh, thank you. And this is going to be so much about vibration. So thank you for setting this stage for that. Even transformation through listening, right? With this divine light that we get to call in every day. Everybody has the opportunity. Yeah. So let's go into your becoming. We're going to take our listeners through this kind of the history of you as a Ph.D. therapist. You've got decades of experience in transformation therapy, and you come from this very scientific base, right? The science practitioner model, which you can talk about. So take us into that a little bit and show us where you've been led, really divinely led, right? To transform your practice with your clients and with groups now.
Yeah. It's so funny because like right when you're on this, you want to sound smart and come from the head, right? And yet we're
Yeah.
talking transformation. So my brain wants to tell you guys all about the science. But the truth is, when I sit firstly with the client, I invite us all just to take a deep breath in and moving all the energy in our head to our heart. Because the truth is, we can't heal from what we talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Heal, the energy of healing is from the heart. It's from a totally
Yeah.
different part of the brain. And so, as much as you and I have talked, and there's so much science and the details, like I just want my brain was like, I'm going to tell you all about it. Like, I just invite all of our listeners, even right now, to just take a deep breath in and feel that. And as we exhale, feel all the thinking energy just really dropping into our hearts. And when we talk about the scientist practitioner model, the science only works if we're working in the right part of the brain, which is the healing aspect. And that means we have to soften and being able to receive. And
Mm-hmm.
so some therapy is like, this is what you got to do, and this is how you fix it, and this is how I can help you. But if we're not in our hearts, we don't get through. And so in my work with clients, I realized like to soften and start testing interventions, like really what helps people move from the thinking brain to the other part where maybe the pain is stored, the trauma is stored. How do we get there to heal?
Mm-hmm. And you've had
And
miraculous success with that.
yeah, so one is just like the power of breath, which we all know, and the power of the relationship and the power of setting up a safe space.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So why don't we just jump right into a little example? Because
Mm-hmm.
I have experienced this healing with you through sessions as well as I've healed some of my deepest wounds from childhood trauma. And you have too. So, traditionally, like you said, I was taught to think about it. But what I've been experiencing lately is that when I surrender, and I surrender to the light, I surrender to the divine, to divine intervention. And I know you
Yeah.
teach that as well. It allows the body to talk to us, right? Instead of us talking to the body's talking, and the body is showing us where the trauma is stored. And so even as recent as a few days ago, I had this experience, and I've released a lot, but I'm still peeling away layers. And my body went right to the place where a deep wound was. And the former me might have said, oh, whatever, I'll go about my day. But I couldn't anymore. I must stop and listen to that. And when I do, I'm granted this grace of letting the light in, and it melts the trauma. So
Yeah.
thanks for letting me share that. But I know like your clients are experiencing that profound like melting, right?
Yeah.
The profound allowance.
The allowing of what is in the body.
Yeah.
And I think even the step before that, Suzanne, what you're really doing is you're saying yes to your own self love. And you've said,
Mhm.
yes, I'm willing to release this and not keep hanging on to it. And
Right.
like those early stages that we kind of forget about because a lot of people and a lot of us want to just make it go away.
Mm-hmm.
And we tend to like project hate at it and disgust and those kind of feelings. So
Mm-hmm.
it takes a lot to like build the container of all of us. And so it does support us to bring in grace and feeling the divine support that's here for us, right? As we
Yeah.
then allow, it's just pure energy. It's not even true anymore. It's just energy. It's stored energy, stuck energy. And we just allow that energy to move through our bodies, to release it back to the light, back to the earth for
Mm-hmm.
recycling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So tell us about that. Is that kind of your process? And if you want to talk about your own experience or your clients, how do you use that kind of transcended practice?
Yeah, I just want to let your listeners know this is really cutting edge that you and I are talking about, because uh, we're really exploring different healing models right now, or maybe I should say I am, because we do know how to heal trauma by processing the story, right? And maybe even shifting that story or bringing in more resources and support to that story, right? And as we know that that story is not happening now, like it's happened in the past, and we can bring in more support of our current moment to help that story move through our bodies, we heal it. And we know we can reduce the symptoms of PTSD with that. Uh, the part that you and I are playing with is there is a path of trauma, but what if we raise our consciousness, right? What if we
Mm-hmm.
transcend that? Like, what if I really step into my remembrance of being divine, of being sovereign?
Mm-hmm.
And if I allow myself to experience that dimension of me, I can almost rise above it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I can bring in that part of me that can hold these other parts of me that are now healing. But I don't have to now go through the symptoms of it anymore. So we're
Mm-hmm.
kind of playing, is that possible or not?
Mm-hmm.
Without doing that whole, what people call spiritual bypassing, which I think it's different than spiritual bypassing, because in all of this, like what you did from a different time we talk, when we're on the bed and we're feeling this stuff, we're still allowing every emotion to just move through us, but we're not getting caught in the story, like labeling it, having a story related to this is anxiety, this is grief, and then that story intensifying the emotion of it.
Mm-hmm.
We're just simply like grace, holding the container and allowing energy to move through our bodies and giving thanks as it does,
Yeah.
as it's returning back to source energy.
Yeah. Oh, beautiful. I think that just gives such a beautiful picture, Dr. Carrie, about what you allow in your group and individual sessions. Let's talk just a little bit about your personal journey, your becoming, because that's how this has happened. When we allow ourselves to express and experience, right? You've brought it in, and you've been granted a lot of freedom in many ways in your work. But tell us about how that happened. And I mean, I know it's a big story of overcoming, like overcoming, getting out of the box, right? Of that.
Yeah.
So what's that been like?
Roller coaster. like,
Yeah, it's
um,
not always easy.
like I've always there, I just remember a chapter in my life that I was so grateful for my training as a psychologist. And I always said, when people said, do you ever regret it? I mean, I went through 10 years of grad school or something ridiculous, and I never regretted it, because
Mm-hmm.
I go, I'm a healer. That's what we do. Like, then I have the freedom. And I thought getting my PhD, there would be no ceiling, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I got my PhD, there's no ceiling on me. I can do and expand and heal in every way I want. And so I always have said that. And then I started doing the work for a long time and starting to almost feel like, as I got it and as I witnessed the healing and I had that honor, um, I started to feel almost limited by the work of a psychologist.
Mm-hmm.
It started to feel tight on me. Like there was like all of a sudden I felt like, and I don't know if this is just my soul, but all of a sudden I felt like there's a lot of rules and expectations, and that I was even needing to see my clients as not healed. Like, so
Mm-hmm.
for me, when I see a client, when they come to me, I feel blessed by their presence because I see the divine in them. I see them as already whole and healed. So
Mm-hmm.
I only see my job is to help them remember that. Once they remember, they got it. They got it. They don't
Yeah.
need me. It's just me holding them in the vibration of their own remembrance of the truth of who they are. But I was not trained that as a psychologist. And people, when they come to me in that paradigm, they're coming to be fixed or healed.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a very limited, when we have that perception, it is a perception, it's okay, but there's a lot of limitation there for us,
Mm-hmm.
in that way. So for me in the becoming, I've had to kind of expand. And then when you're starting to expand, it's like, then what? What's next? Like,
Yeah.
what truly is next? And my brain goes, maybe the fear of, I'm going to get in trouble for this.
Right.
Like, I'm going to get in trouble for expanding. Does anybody relate to that? Like growing and thinking beyond the box of our training, that we're going to get in trouble, versus like, oh, I'm a pioneer. I'm a pioneer, and this is how we expand through this work, and by tracking it and studying it and then bringing it to the research. That is who I am, not somebody who's a troublemaker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I am a soul and a heart, not just a thinker, too. You've been able, I've watched your transcendence of integrating fully into your heart space as a light, as a beacon, as divine. It's so beautiful. So let's start to move in, because that has started to allow, right? As you've allowed yourself through a lot of, self-care, and, a lot of it took some taking care of yourself and saying no to the structure that you used to be in. And a lot of us have done that, right? The kind of the corporate structure. But you've allowed yourself to be guided by something very, very different, very divine. And I've witnessed that. How has that allowed your expression and your soul gifts? Let's step into your soul gifts, what they are becoming, and they still are.
Yeah. Well, I just am thinking of saying this, Suzanne, as it came in, because I worked in medical centers for a long time. And so for people out there in that like 8 to 4:30, 9 to 5 schedule, when you're in that and you're expanding, it can feel painful, right? In that moment. And I just want to invite people, because I was there, that when you're in it, to start being who you are. You don't always have to leave first. So even though I was already growing, I was able to stay for an extra year and experience the magic and the lessons of that space. And then it was so tight. It became so tight on me, even though I loved this space and I loved the work and I love my clients and I loved that. It was so tight. I was like almost kicked out of it by spirit to leave. And then I decided to build a temple space in my dream office, let's say. And I ended up sitting down there for months and months, right? To just like heal myself and nourish myself. And then I was hiring every kind of business coach possible to help me transcend and transform and who I was going to be. And I couldn't find language. That was like the funny part. I could never figure out. I didn't have clarity. I couldn't figure it out. I spent so much money on all these coaches to help me figure it out. And then I go, I just don't speak this language. And they're like, what do you mean? Aren't you English your first language? I go, no, I just don't. It doesn't come out that way. Like, if you really want my truth, if you think my clients or the world really wants my truth, I can't speak it in English. And it, like, who says that? That's like the most ridiculous thing, right?
Yeah.
And so I had a dear coach who said, well, what language do you speak it in? Speak to me in it. And I just started going, and I had this pure clarity as my higher self spoke to her in my purpose in my business and how I was going to do this. It was like in this totally different language. And she's like, well, you're going to be doing that. That's going to be your work. And I was like, what? Like, that is crazy. No way. I do not talk like this. I had like almost embarrassment around it. And I would be in tears because I couldn't find the human language, English language. And so, and now, I think through the support of finding my soul tribe and my soul sisters, really, and allowing me to speak in that way and then talk about the effects of that, has been really profound for me. And what a journey. What a
I
journey. Because
know.
it's like the things you hate about yourself end up being your magic.
Oh my gosh, that's so true. Your biggest like seeming roadblocks, right? Like, what do I say? So this is a perfect segue. Let's go. Can we go into your light language? Let's bring this in for our
Sure.
listeners.
Yes,
Carrie,
yes,
Dr.
yes.
Carrie's going to bring in you could call it an attunement, an activation, just an experience to hear it. And
Yeah.
we can also call this sound therapy because the sound of it, the vibration is literally like we were talking about earlier, shaking leaves off the tree for your clients. It helps open, it just helps cut through the energy. It helps bring in light. So I invite our listeners to kind of settle in and experience this from Carrie's true self and see what comes.
Yeah. And I just share this with you all. If people aren't familiar with it, why sound therapy is kind of coming more into the field. So it gets us out of our head. And maybe I should speak that for me, because all my training, all the words, all the shoulds, all the things we're supposed to do to heal, to be this, to be that. How are we supposed to really listen to our truth and what's really, really in there? So I find this language is just to support us in that. So my invitation is, as this comes through, to just don't worry about the thought and just notice if you can experience what energies you experience. And Suzanne, do you like when I translate what I'm getting, the meaning?
Yes, I think it's so
Okay.
helpful because
Okay.
to interpret.
Okay. So let's all just take a couple deep breaths in and exhaling. Mahiako kotika siki kashi kamakahi kikatikao. Oh, show me kio dudi kahi siko sika I kamaka. Iha kosiki shikia. Ori kia de tumokaya. You can nikarika. You can supotika. Dasha kikarika moka hikahiha sakahiya. Ya shahikiha ya makita kashi. Aha makaya haya koya shika yakorika moka yika. Oh, we could shoko moko kiko, we could kwatatiki shia yakomahia. Oh my gosh, she is like so different than I was doing this with you the other night. She is celebrating these listeners. She is like, they are handpicked, those that are here. And we see and hear you and feel this activation and celebration for your listening and participating in this journey. We are just celebrating and just feel this reuniting, almost like I'm coming and we're dancing and like, I cannot believe it. We are here, we are here, we are here. Ashikarika maka hika taka saka, ayaka tika rika muka taka, yasa kona shika, umukura tika tika moka shika. And she wants to celebrate you, Suzanne. Ashana moka rekara, moka yasaka, yatarika moka shiha, yakarika, yahukumoka, yatakika, and oshihika sa. And so she actually wants to do a little clearing for the listeners, if that feels okay for people. So just invite yourself to really feel the feet on the ground. And we're just going to invite in some earth energy and just start to feel what you feel. I hoko mo karika hokashaka ya mahi kia korika maya koshuko ya kamo hika ayakori kamaya yukori kanio mia kia yonu kia mia yokori yari yokobiari kia kario dori aramika ariokarika mikarika mo kia kidaru mo karika yikaroshi keroko hiha ya hokia ya yo hayashi hayakohiha ya ho kamahi kia korika hosha ahi korika ma kari karako mia ni ni ki mia ni ki no mania ni mia ya yo como ya shia ya maya re kono monia re kori no ni mia shiko ayo wane mia ni ki mia ya mia taking a deep breath in. Now, and in this little brief sample, she was just doing some realignment with the chakras. And we spent some time really activating that heart chakra. And so I don't know if people know the chakras and the energy centers, but what also happened is there was some clearing from the crown. And so that the invitation is, even if you listen to this recording, it will support you in that energy clearing. And so you can also start really receiving more specific clarity and details from your higher self and your own source energy. Ahiko shika mahi kisi kiko korika mahi tikara kashiko kokia makaka yaya. Mwah, mwah, mwah. And she just gives thanks for this opportunity. Like, what an honor. Suzanne, there are some very, very powerful people listening right now. So it just feels really good.
It does feel so good. And I feel so truly blessed. And thank you. Thank you to your divine self, that divine light in you that brought this through for us and brings it through. It is such a gift. Oh, goodness. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Can you feel this now, Suzanne? Can you
I
feel it?
I feel
like, what are you feeling?
Centered. Yeah, I'll just share, because maybe listeners will tune in to what you're feeling. Pay attention and notice if you are sensing, because this is what we're talking about, the expression of sound in our bodies. My feet are really buzzing. It's like they are all lit up. And I felt like the sound vibration brought me centered, like a funnel going through me, kind of like a centering funnel from my crown down. So as she brought in the light language, it just gave my body and my soul just what I needed. And I know that's happening for every listener, whatever it is that you came to listen to. For today, you received that. And that's the blessing of it. And that's how you're blessing people in your work. And I thank you. I thank you for allowing and being brave. It hasn't been easy. I know that. I've been a witness, but it is then so incredibly powerful. And I mean, maybe listeners relate because you may have heard singing bowls played or crystal bowls, or even music. How does music touch you and light you up? It's so similar. But Carrie brings this through her channel, and it's just a blessing.
Yeah. And as I'm with this now, I know we're going to move on, but I can feel this magnetic energy like between my hands right now. So it's just really, the portal is open for each of you. If there's any way to really listen, there's a lot of us doing this work, and it's for you. It's not for your neighbor or for the person who's not listening. It's for you. So really, if there's any space and way to take this time, because it's very strong and I'm really holding it, and it's not for me, it's for you, to really connect to what is coming through right now, for is wanting to be communicated to you. And trust it, trust it, trust it. Thank you.
Yeah, trust it. Trust your internal navigation, your divine navigation.
Yeah.
You're a shining example of that, Carrie.
Thank you.
So I want to tell listeners how to find you. And you've got an exciting offering to offer coming up in March. So share about that. If listeners feel the call, if you're vibrating and your soul is saying, yes, Carrie can be of assistance.
So I'm so excited, you all. This just came in Saturday morning. What's today? Monday. This came through Saturday morning. This is crazy. But first of all, you can reach me at Dr. Kari Taylor, TAYLOR.com, drcarrietaylor.com. So check out my website. I would love for that. And in my imagination, I went to bed at 8 o'clock on a Friday night. I was wiped out. I knew this was coming. I wanted some kind of offering of this, and I didn't know what it was going to be. So I ended up going to bed at 8 o'clock, and the next morning, it's Saturday morning, and I got it. And it was what we've been talking about. It's shifting from healing. Like healing is the energy that something is wrong with you. And the invitation is to shift from something's wrong with you to I've done the healing work. I've been there. I've done that. And I am ready to create and I'm ready to play. So I am doing the Heal and Co-Create Through Play series, and it's going to be happening in March. So every Friday in March for 1 hour, it's noon Eastern time. And it support you in shifting your focus from something is wrong with me to I am ready to create. I'm ready to create my reality. And you're going to learn skills of being in your creator frequency, experiencing freedom, allowing you, all of you, and integrating your spiritual gifts and really connecting more with your superpowers in your everyday life. So it's going to be also a great stepping stone to more that's coming. And in this imagination that I'm kind of creating in this mystery school with superpowers. So I'm so excited about it. And I would love to, even if that doesn't speak to you, if you want to just stay in touch with this like cutting edge stuff that's coming through right now in the healing world, feel free to sign up on my newsletter on the website. And then we'll stay in touch that way. So thank you all for being with me and receiving and really being a part of this beautiful container as we also inaugurate Miss Suzanne here today in this podcast, in this very special new beginning for all of us.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So again, that's Dr. Kari Taylor, Kari Taylor.com, and sign up for her newsletter too, because she'll be offering so many more amazing, unique opportunities through play, through light language, and who knows what else is coming, right?
Exactly.
Okay, so Carrie, as we wrap up, I have one final question. What's your best advice for others who are finding themselves really like in touch with this, for other therapists or patients or clients who want to join the adventure of something different? What's your best advice for that call?
So my invitation is to kind of what we did is start breathing from your head to your heart, bringing that energy down into your heart center. And instead of us trying to figure it out in our human way through limitation and forcing the energy, just start breathing in the energy that you want to experience every day. Call it in and allow that to be the guide. And then just start seeing how that starts showing up in your reality.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Allow, right?
Allow
in all capitals.
Allow it to come to you. Allow it to come to you, and don't create it from the head, create it from the heart center.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay. All right. Well, Dr. Kari, thank you so much.
Thank you all.
Thank you. We're going to be going into a short break in a moment. I'm Suzanne Alexandria here on Soul Activation Podcast. And our next segment to lead us through the rest of this hour is going to be another attunement. Following on this beautiful clearing that we received with Dr. Kari, this activation coming up will be an invitation, just as she has so beautifully cued us up, into more heart connection, because truly that's what this work and this life for us is so much about. So if you're interested in receiving some vibration through Ascended Master Isis and really touching your eternal source fountain, then stay tuned and we'll be back after this short break. Welcome back, everyone, to Soul Activation Podcast. I'm Suzanne Alexandria. And again, in this series, we're talking about what is really possible within you. And that by that, I mean transformational shifts that change your life and that have a profound ripple effect. Because seriously, you're the change. We are the change. There's no one coming along to save us. We're doing it. And you, Monday on Soul Activation Podcast, I'll be interviewing some of the most gifted professional healers and spiritual channels and leaders, helping us understand what it means to say yes to a deep and most loving divine connection with spirit, with your gifts, with your higher self. And well, for me, that is heaven on earth, pure and simple, and it's pure magic. So I'm an intuitive and a coach, and I coach and help professional women and men who are craving the next step, but may not even really know what that means or what it looks like. I'm a healer, and I assist my clients in doing all of this with spirit. So if that's you, you know what I'm talking about. For me, it's truly about igniting your own light, just like we just experienced through Dr. Kari's transformation, her becoming, because everything is energy. That's why I teach a short course on Reiki too, to get people started. I run a mystery school for healers. It's a healers academy called Wings of Isis, where my clients focus on building their confidence and practicing their new and emerging skills and really understanding their soul and who she or he is. And also working with their angelic guides because we are so surrounded by the light. Learn more and download a free introductory activation at SuzanneAlexandria.com. And now for this week, you're invited to receive a little more divine love activation and empowerment coding to shift you into your next vibration, your current moment. Are you ready? I invite you to sit back, perhaps savor a cup of tea, close your eyes if you're not driving, and enjoy this short guided meditation brought in with our blessed ascended master mentor, Isis. We are talking bringing in pure goddess power. This week's inspiration actually hails from one of the most beautiful musical performances I've ever witnessed. It was just last week at our inauguration. Did you see it? Did you see and witness Katy Perry singing her heart out on the steps of the Lincoln Memorial? That's in one of my favorite cities, Washington, D.C. And Katy Perry, to me, brought through her divine feminine, pure goddess spirit with that spectacular fireworks display over the Washington Monument. I mean, when does it get any better than that? Like letting your fire show. She did it, but I felt like she was singing to me. I lived and worked in Washington, D.C. for 20 years, working in corporate America before even realizing what an intuitive was, let alone that I was one. So if you're asking, is it possible to ignite my gifts? Well, I hope all of this is showing you, yeah, it is. And I believe that is in the blending of intuition and gifts. And I believe in bringing that to our entire society. So as Dr. Carrie and I were talking, how do we bring this to the everyday, to other professions? That's something I'm incredibly passionate about. So if you're wondering if you're intuitive, well, you already know your answer. But that performance by Katy was so brilliant. And I want to share a few of the lyrics to set the stage for bringing in Isis. So her lyrics say, "'Cause baby, there's a spark in you. You just gotta ignite the light and let it shine. Just own this night. Own yourself. Like the 4th of July. Come on, baby, 'cause you're a firework. Show them what you're worth. Make them go, oh, 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 as you shoot across the sky." Those are her lyrics. She blasted that through the country and to me, the cosmos. And so we're going to bring in that same spark energy if you'd like to receive an activation with Ascended Master Isis. So as we did before, I really invite you to allow this to be a visceral experience of the light. Maybe invite in feeling or seeing or hearing something new, hearing what's in you. That's what I can always see in you eternally. That's your eternal flame. If you would like to allow and invite Ascended Master Isis to adjust your crown and your heart just a little bit, then sit back, close your eyes, and let's again take a couple of deep breaths. And you can simply say yes. Feel into your heart. And imagine that there's a little candle there, or a big candle that is already aglow in your heart. Allow this light to soften within your chest, within your shoulders. Let it shine down into your belly and your legs, and let it shine up through into your head. Clear that head space and let it shine into your hands. You might even wish to bring your hands to your heart center, feeling yourself melt just a little more like soft butter. And then allow your heart light to flicker just a little brighter. What does your heart want to say to you? What does your heart want to show to you? Does it want to shine? Does it want to shine a little brighter? Do you want to allow it to? Now, Isis, the Ascended Master, is bringing through some divine heaven-inspired light that's pure crystalline white, and it's gently swirling around you. So imagine it swirling and softening your glow even more. As you soften, you perceive differently. As you soften, you heal, you release. She's bringing in this light of illumination around your entire body in a loving, loving swirl. So let it wrap around you. Let it spark in your body any places that want to wake up, to the real you, to your light. And now allow this swirl to connect you more deeply to the earth, to the Mother Earth. Allow your feet to connect with the earth. Allow your heart to create a beautiful connection with the earth. And allow yourself in this place to expand, to be ignited by your divine light, your divine glow. You see, a lot of times we're seeking that light outside of ourselves. We think it's something to attain outside. We go somewhere else for it. And while we need certainly external understanding and stimulation and awareness, the truth is that what we're finding, what we're seeking is right in here. It's already there. It just needs a little nurturing. It needs a little recognition. It needs love. It needs self-love. So if there is anything you've been needing to tell yourself, anything like a message you'd like to tell yourself in this moment, invite that in. Invite yourself into the experience of loving yourself enough to say something most loving and most divine right through you. For that is surely the divine expression of you, giving yourself that mention, that light. And this is how we come into union. It's this interplay of co-creating the experience of letting the light in and letting it amp up. We don't do it alone. We do it with spirit. We do it with each other. But notice how glorious it starts to be as you allow the expression of your light to be ignited. Because baby, you're a firework. I'm so grateful to those lyrics. They put into reference the perfect expression. You got this. It's not out there, it's in here. You had it all along. It's kind of like when Dorothy remembers she had the red shoes, she had it all along. The whole story about seeking the wizard to give her the answers. Well, you don't need a wizard. And Ascended Master Isis is bringing forward a very powerful vibration of divine light, the Christ consciousness vibration, to then activate within your solar plexus. So imagine within you there's a sun down in your belly, above your belly button. And this is a pure beloved activation of your pure expression, your Christ consciousness. That's awakening in you in this moment and moment to moment, not just in this moment, but moment to moment. So allow the light to shine on your solar plexus and allow it to shine on your back. Allow it to lift and support you and infuse you. Because, dear listener, if you're listening to this, if something has called you to this experience, your soul is ready. Your soul has brought you to this place of illumination. And it's such a divine, beautiful honor to be part of this igniting, to be part of this allowing. This is an aspect of the becoming, of your becoming your radiant self, of owning your sovereignty, of transforming the paradigm of you as a seeker of something outside of you to you as a seeker within, as a knower really within you. It's a most powerful gift for yourself. And we will just allow this for a few precious moments. We have time. You're giving yourself this gift of time as you really eclipse that place where you were to the place where you are now. See it like a lunar eclipse, igniting what was shadow and transforming it into light, transmuting, turning it on. Do you see how easy it is through pure consciousness? It's actually quite profoundly easy to transcend the shadow that we thought was there or that was there and turn on the light. And this is what igniting your eternal flame is all about. You've just done it. So notice how this brings you to a transcended space where you might begin to be able to feel that something more is possible, that what you wish to create might already be here within your grasp. Could it possibly be so? Are you willing to allow that? Isis is more in the frame of reference that are you willing to allow that? Because it is possible. And I know that to be true with all of my heart. So let my faith even help you if you're having any questions. Allow your heart to expand, and notice how this sun, as it brightens in your solar plexus chakra, shines up to your heart, and allow it to illuminate and let your heart shine more brightly. See how that works? It's brilliant. And then let that light start to transcend and come up and ignite your crown. You are already wearing a crown. You already have everything it takes. You already are the master of your reality and your divinity. Allow that in. Allow that to be. And if you would like to ask the energy of Isis to work within you in any other way, feel free. Feel free to call that in. If you're experiencing something in your body or your life or a relationship that you'd like assistance with, ask for it. Say a little prayer. Put it forth. That's how we co-create with this divine presence. And as we come to the conclusion of this experience, I simply bestow another blessing to you, that may you know and trust and be and receive all of this expression of light that you are, that I see in you. May you experience it all in the most magical ways, moment to moment, and may you be the ripple that you want to be as you expand your drop in this magical sea. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for shining. Please feel free to learn more about me at SuzanneAlexandria.com and download another guided activation for free there. I'll see you on Soul Activation Podcast every second and fourth Monday right here at transformationtalkradio.com. See you next time. Namaste. To me, this path of healing and enlightenment is this immaculate process of finding all the parts of us that have been lost and hidden and even taken, and then very masterfully and lovingly recombining ourselves, coming into our true self, and then all of a sudden realizing, oh my gosh, I'm home. Thank you for listening to Soul Activation Podcast. For more information about me, visit SuzanneAlexandria.com. Tune in every second and fourth Monday, 2 p.m. Central, 5 p.m. Eastern at transformationtalkradio.com.